Steve, this is the play that sparked X, and we're going to show it. Here we go. This is the deal. So Pat gets the ball, and we're running this where we can't stop the play, so we're just probably going to have to show it 3,000 times. Pat runs out of the pocket. As you can see, it's a clean pocket. There was no reason for Pat to have to come out and make some kind of crazy jump pass to Justin Watson. That, by the way, I'm just going to keep showing the play. Keep in mind, Justin Ross is who gets circled, but don't even look at him just yet. When I pause this, well, the ball's out, says Bobby Stroop. Well, what do you see? I see two defenders looking at Patrick Mahomes and breaking on the ball before Justin Watson even knows the ball's coming. So it's almost as if Patrick Mahomes pulled out some kind of hot route again. Because if that was a design throw, Steve, don't you think Justin Watson would have kind of reacted to the ball a little faster? Like if they're like, dude, we know that you're gonna run a 3-yard turnaround. Right.
You would think so. I don't know. I was like, that was my point. Like the throw looked predetermined. Like, but was it in the play call or is it Patrick just being a one read guy?
Right. It almost seemed like that was the same thing he did with Sky Moore against the Packers. He just predetermined what he was going to do at the line. And whether it's right or wrong, like not everybody's on the same page as Patrick. You could say that. But in this case, Patrick's wrong. He should have never threw that ball. That corner played the pass better than Justin Watson. He watched him the whole time.
Well, not only the corner, but if go back to the play, let's see. Both corners actually zone in on Watson.
They're all watching him.
Like watch right here.
Yeah, they're all watching him. They're all watching Pat. Pat never took his eyes off of him.
You know, Justin Ross, regardless if that other corner even bit on that pass, Justin Ross was on his hip, had him beat. Like, off the get-go.
So that's what we're showing. Everybody's like, well, he'd already made the pass, and then that's why Justin Ross become open. No, he didn't. He's right there. He's beat. They're playing a zone. Beat. They're playing a zone. He's not even going to run with them. He's playing a zone. He's passing them off. Pat had to know pre-snap if that was zone or man. And he should have known, hey, if I pump fake out to him, I'm probably going to get Ross over the top. And what did he do? He does a Tyler Palco jump pass, pick six, and allows some no-name corner to play the Grinch at Arrowhead.
Yeah. Hey, Brian Parrott, I fixed it. By the way. That's what I've been doing. But either way, I'm with you on that one. Play. I think it was a bad read by Pat. I do. First of all, even if that was what you were thinking of as your first read, why would you throw that? I mean,
that's what I'm saying. Look, he's already releasing the ball right now. He's releasing the ball, and Watson's not even attempted to finish his route, which means, did Pat think it was a 3-yard hitch and he run a 6-yard hitch?
It's just it's a very low percentage completion anyway. Like you
1,000%.
have to know that. So why even throw the ball?
Didn't need to.
Like that's the thing about it. Like Patrick Mahomes is the best quarterback in the entire football league. Everybody knows that. It's obvious. Like even fans of other teams know that, whether they want to admit it or not. And a lot of the other teams' fans will admit it. We all know that he's a great quarterback. We know he can read a defense. We know that he can make special plays. But Patrick Mahomes at the same time is human. When you put the world on his shoulders and you give him nothing to work with, he's going to crack eventually.
Right.
And to me, it looks like he's just making bad decisions right now. Because of how bad it's been this year. I think frustration's building. I think you mentioned it earlier. Like he's seeing ghosts out there. Like nothing looks right to him. He don't trust any of the receivers. I don't even know if he trusts them to run the right route at this point. But yeah, it's just like no matter what the issue is, Patrick's not playing at a Patrick Mahomes level right now. I mean, that's obvious. When you give the other team 14 points in 7 seconds, it's kind of hard to convince me that he's playing at his top level.
That's my point, Steve. But you know, Patrick makes a mistake. But if you call it out, though, no can do, man.
Yeah, that's people like Chief KT that just, you know, they get their feelings hurt and they just can't handle
what's
them.
Chief KT crying about? Because we should trade him? We should trade him? Nobody said that.
He always comes with the really overly ridiculous sarcasm.
Look, if you think Patrick Mahomes is bigger than the Kansas City Chiefs, you're mistaken because we're going to be here long after Pat's retired. Should they name the whole city after him? Rightfully so. If he don't win another championship, he's the best player to ever play for us by far. But that doesn't mean you can't look at some of his play and be like, this is some questionable stuff. What's causing it? We got to get to the root issue. I don't know what's causing it. I feel like it's just the receivers and the team Veach put out there. But again,
It is. Yeah.
Let's look at another play. Here's another play. Here we go. I don't even really know what's coming here. I have to watch it one time and see what it is. Mahomes in the pocket. Yeah, that's what it was. That was the play. So Mahomes evades the pocket. Let me go back and do it again here. So Mahomes comes out of the pocket. Look, perfect pocket. Perfect pocket. He could stand up or whatever. He takes his eyes off and evades the pocket for no reason and runs. And look, you've got MVS breaking to the end zone for a touchdown. And usually 3 years ago, Mahomes throws that ball. Mahomes would have, look, he's watching him. Mahomes throws that up and whatever. But the point is not saying this is right or wrong. I think the play got called back anyway. But the point was
dude,
why
he wasn't
did
even close to the line
Mahomes
of
leave
scrimmage.
the pocket?
Right.
Why did he leave the pocket? That was the knock.
He not only did he leave clean pockets the other day, but he stepped up in collapsed pockets over and over again. It was very strange. Like Mahomes is just a tick off right now, and I think it's because of all the things going on around him. It's kind of in his head, and it's got to get straightened out, man. We've seen glimpses of Patrick having these moments, like the second half of the AFC Championship game against the Bengals a few years back. There's been other games where he just looks off, and they're like, "This is not the actual Patrick." You actually call him McClone. Patrick McClone.
It looks like a McClone. It's a clone version of him.
So we've seen this in small, little portion sizes, but now we're seeing it go game to game to game, and it's like we've got to figure this out and get him out of his own head and get him back to just slinging the ball. Because, I mean, like you said it, like these receivers are not good. But what else do you have? Just throw them the ball. If they screw up, they screw up.
Patrick cannot micromanage. He can't go out there and hand it to him. You got to keep throwing it. And look, if he's going to put MVS on the field for 60-some plays, you're just going to have to throw it to him. Like, what else you going to do?
What the hell is Andy doing having him out there for 61 plays when he knows damn well Patrick Mahomes is not going to throw him the ball? Everybody in the entire universe knows that Patrick Mahomes is not going to throw the ball.
Right.
To MVS. Every defense knows that. Everyone knows that. They don't even have to account for it. They don't want to, there's several of these plays, Mike. I don't know if you have them on here, but when I was watching it, there's several plays where they just do not respect the deep ball whatsoever because they know it's not getting thrown.
Right.
Like, and that's what's making it so difficult for them to move the ball right now because we're so one-dimensional.
Right. So there's two. Let's just go through some more plays here. What I found. I actually pulled out, by the way. Mahomes attempted 45 passes. I found 20 plays where Pat didn't make, in my opinion, the correct read, threw a badly thrown ball, evaded a pocket for no reason whatsoever, and created his own pressure. Pat is just off his game. And that's not saying nobody, you're hating on Patrick Mahomes, but let's be honest, something's throwing him off. And if we don't get to the root cause of this, look, the Raiders said it best. Stop the magician, stop the act. If Mahomes is the magician and he is in a place where he's just not playing well, be it his receivers, play calling, scheme, whatever it may be, then you've killed Kansas City football at the moment, and that's what's going on. Here's another one. Let's throw this one up. There it is. I'm just going to take that one off. I already know what the play is. This is one of the first plays of the game. Patrick Mahomes has a clean pocket, and you're going to see, I think it's Crosby, gets around Wanye. Wanye puts him in the ground, and Patrick can step up just nice and easy. Matter of fact, he don't even get nowhere near him. Wanye takes care of him. And I'm going to play the play. Here we go. You're going to see Kelce getting double teamed right here, and you're going to see a wide open field Rashee Rice is cutting to, and Mahomes did not throw that ball.
That's bad.
He chose to leave the clean pocket because there he goes. He's watching it. He chooses not to throw it and to run out of the pocket and get 1 yard. 1 yard. And let's show the play again. Look, Kelce takes the linebacker. The two safeties are nowhere in spot. Mahomes needs to throw him open there. And by the way, there is no throwing him open. He's just wide open.
Yeah.
He's wide open. And look, Pat's watching it. But Pat doesn't trust it enough to throw it. Or else Pat don't want to throw it. We don't know what's going on.
Or did he even see it? That's the thing. Is he even going through his reads?
He has to be. Yeah, who's he watching? Kelce? And when Kelce gets doubled, he's leaving? That's my point. It feels like Pat's on a one-read system, and he's not doing nothing else.
Right.
This was his knock.
Somebody said he's looking like Alex Smith this year, I will say he don't, because Alex Smith, first of all, wouldn't be throwing the crazy picks. And second of all, I think Alex would make some of these throws. And that's not saying that he's better than Patrick Mahomes. That's absurd. But just, yeah, there's something to tick off with Pat right now.
One reason watching this play that Patrick Mahomes don't unleash this ball right here to Rashee Rice. Look at all that field, and there is no safety.
He didn't look.
He was looking right at it.
Like, the only explanation is that he did not look at Rashee Rice not one time.
He was looking at Kelce. Right there.
He's looking at Kelce.
But Rashee's right behind him.
I'm just saying, he's so zoned in on Kelce. He didn't even see it. I swear, I think that's what's going on here.
Am I right or am I wrong, though? Should he have thrown that ball? Or is Bobby Stroop going to come tell us that the ball's already been determined? And
well, just to prove the point, like, here's the thing. Like, we're not dogging on Mahomes or anything like that. We're just showing.
God, we got to get over that.
We're showing some shortcomings right now. This team, he plays a big part in why this team sucks right now, just as much as everybody else.
Exactly.
Right? So we can talk about it, and that's what we're doing. And just to prove the point, there was a play where he connected with Richie James for a big game. And if you go back and watch it, there wasn't anyone within a square mile of Richie James, and he hesitated to throw him the ball.
And he hesitated. I had that play.
He literally hesitated. He was not going to throw it, and there was no one even near him.
That play right there, the route that Rashee Rice ran right there that he did not throw, was pretty reminiscent of the one Richie James actually did that he hesitated on, and then he did throw it.
He did. I didn't think he was going to throw it. I remember when that play happened, we're like, are you going to throw the ball? Throw the ball. Like, he is wide open, and he hesitated to even do that. So I think there's definitely something in his head right now. He's just got to shake it and get back to his normal self. Like I said, maybe the receivers suck. Maybe they do. But that's what you got. That's what you've been given. You're just going to have to play ball the way you know to play and get it out there. If they screw it up, they screw it up. You're not going to stop. You're not going to beat everybody by yourself. So, I mean, if they're going to screw up, you're going to lose.
Steve, that's what I said yesterday on the live. I said that if they want to turn it around, Mahomes has to stop micromanaging. You have to just play with the receivers they give you, and you can't be like, look, I'm not throwing it to MVS. He drops everything. I'm not throwing it here. He's not running the right route. You have to throw it to where they're supposed to be, and if it's a turnover, I don't care if you throw 35 picks. Anybody in the offense is going to know whose problem that is. But when you're watching this kind of stuff and you're seeing Mahomes get so gun shy that he won't even throw to a wide open Rashee Rice because he's got a one read on Kelce getting double teamed. Why are you even making Kelce your first read? We all know he's double and triple teamed every play.
Well, that's the thing, though. Like, especially in a play like that, Mike, Kelce's garnering the double team. That's the whole beauty of having Travis Kelce.
That's the reason that play worked, because he took the linebacker.
Exactly. That's how that play was designed. I guarantee you that's why Andy Reid drew that play up, because he knew that person was going to come off and double team Kelce, and it would leave someone wide open. Patrick Mahomes should know that. He should be looking for it. He's just a tick off, just like everybody else on the team. Like, I don't think he's any worse than anybody else on the team right now. I think Kelce's been pretty lackluster. I mean, everybody's got their piece in the pie. Everybody does.
1,000%. But the point of the exercise is everybody blames everybody but Pat. And I think it's not fair to blame the entire team and not give Patrick a little bit of criticism when he deserves it. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Here's another one. Here's another play. This is the play. Oh, this is the throw to MVS. MVS is running an out route. Look how bad this ball's thrown by Mahomes. That ball's supposed to be thrown to the sideline, and he throws it behind him. Look, we're dogging MVS and calling him everything under the sun, and this cat was out here, and he actually ran a good route. His defender fell down.
Marquez earned the name MVS,
look,
okay? We can call him that.
Yeah, it's 100% fine, but you can't continue to make, I get it, but you can't continue to make excuses. Patrick missed this throw, and this wasn't the only one. We seen him miss Kelce earlier. That's all I'm saying. Clean pocket, clean everything. He throws it behind him by 2 yards. It was that simple. Well, that's not on MVS right there.
Judging from the past, it's like Patrick Mahomes, normally he has like ice in his veins. He's very clutch. Nothing gets to him. Nothing shakes him. He's kind of a stone face. And it doesn't matter how bad they're losing, like Pat's in it. And they can come back, right? I'm not seeing that Pat lately. It's more like when he gets a little bit frazzled, it becomes this. Like it's the exact opposite of what we're used to seeing.
I feel like he's aiming. He's
Yeah,
scared
he's
to
in his
death
head.
to
He's
throw
just in
the
his
ball.
head.
Exactly.
He's in his head, and Mike, let me tell you why. And I'm not going to blame Patrick for being in his head. Really, I think it's on the GM. I think when you put this kind of product out there and you leave your franchise quarterback hanging the way they did him with the receiver room,
Yeah,
I think that
you're
they
not
created
wrong.
this. They created this mess, and
Look,
now you've got now. Not only do you have a disgruntled, kind of like frustrated franchise quarterback, but you also have gotten his head so bad he can't even play football halfway straight.
right.
Like
It's leaked
you
over
have
to the tight
failed
end.
miserably. That
Dude,
like
Kelce's slamming his helmet and Reed's hip checking him. Like, this team
right.
is imploding, and the world is laughing. Like,
Oh
people are
yeah,
just having a laugh, and like, this is the best thing they've ever experienced.
the Chiefs are a laughing stock right now, like straight up, 100%.
It's crazy. Let me
I
show
mean, it
one
was
more.
pure, the game the other day is a perfect example. It was pure comedy, was it not,
Right.
guys? Like, I know you're all frustrated because they sucked and we got beat by the Raiders, but were you not laughing at least a few times in that game at how bad everything was? I
Right.
mean, you got to think, but not only all the stuff you're seeing where Patrick Mahomes wasn't playing like Patrick Mahomes, but you had Isaiah Pacheco getting stuffed every 2 seconds. He couldn't even strap his helmet on. Got kicked in the head. The table broke on the sideline. Butker misses a field goal.
Dude, it was like a comedy of
anything like
errors.
it was so bad that it was funny. Even though you were a little bit mad, you still had to laugh at it because it was so pathetic. Like, it was like you were watching the Bad News
Dude,
Bears.
It was funny. Let's watch this
Yeah.
one. Here's another one. This one, there was a flag on the play. Oh, this was the one I was telling you about with Kelce. Flag
Threw
on
it
the play
way
didn't
behind
count.
him. Yeah.
But you want to watch how bad this ball's thrown? The
That's
DB
so
could
bad.
barely get it. Dude, Kelsey's beat the defender by 2 yards, and the DB couldn't even get his yard hand and arm back there.
Right, dude. Chiefer,
Why is-
110% on this comment, bro.
I
Like, it
just
should have
want
been
you to,
playing
like,
the
look,
entire game.
clean pocket. And
I
I
don't even
want you
understand that. Yeah.
watch Mahomes' footwork. He's not even stepping into the throw properly. Like, his front foot is actually off to the left when he's throwing it, which, look how far off he is. Like, his hips were unbalanced. Everything about that, his mechanics and everything right now is bad. And who's telling him? The enemy's not here to tell him anymore. It's good old buddy
Well,
Matt Nagy, I guess, over there on the sideline telling him everything's fine. The receivers suck,
I will say
just like
this,
half the fans want to do.
Patrick said that. He said it 100%. I think he knows. He's not crazy.
He
Patrick knows
knows.
that he knows that he's at some, has a little bit of fault here. Because he actually said what he needs to do is get his footwork right, get back to the basics, and just play some football. And I mean, it's just straight up the truth. I mean, you can see it right here on this play. How do you miss that throw that bad? I mean, I don't think there's very many quarterbacks in the NFL that would miss that throw that bad, and he's the best one there is. So
Wait,
obviously
somebody
something's
in
wrong.
the comments said that was for Watson. If that ball was intended for Watson, what is he
Even
doing?
worse.
Because Kelce was the one wide open, not Watson. Like, if you're throwing at the Watson, you're drunk.
Surely God, he
This
wasn't
is
doing that.
look. This is another thing I'm noticing as well.
No, that was just a bad throw to Kelce.
And we've seen this a few times throughout the year. The Chiefs' wide receiver spacing and the route concepts have got these guys too close to each other. I've seen that all day long watching all 22, man. They're tripping over each other. I know some of these routes are designed to do that, but I still feel like it's spacing. Like, you're going to see one in a minute. And by the way, Mahomes actually completed the ball.
Will you play that play one more time?
I just
think somebody
deleted
else.
it.
Oh, well, whatever. We don't need to see it. I can almost guarantee you guys in the comments that are saying that was not for Justin Watson.
I don't think it is either. If that was for Justin Watson, it made no sense, because why would you throw it to Justin Watson when Kelce is
if that was for Justin Watson, we could criticize it even more.
Yeah, I think so too, because then that's not even close.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's move on. Here's another one here.
Let's move on. Let's watch another one.
I've got a few. This is one of the first plays
Let's
of the game.
torture ourselves
so look,
today.
everybody. No, I just want to go through and talk about this because we're blaming everybody, but Pat has a little bit to blame too. A lot of people said, look, Pat's getting happy. He's he's feet happy, his offensive line. This was in the first series of the game. He had not taken a sack yet. First series, here we go. Watch this. Kelce comes open. Kelce is wide open. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. Kelce is wide open. You can see him. He sits down. The nearest defender is circled in red. Pat's looking right at him, and he pump faked and didn't throw and took a sack. Tell me that's not on the offensive line. He can throw the ball right now.
Yeah.
And he ate it. He ate it. and he got a sack. And then what did everybody say after the play? Man, Wanye missed. Kelce is open. You throw the ball right now. He's pump faked. Look at Mahomes. He's got the ball in motion and does not throw that ball. What's he worried about? The safety coming down?
That's very uncharacteristic for him anyway when throwing to Kelce, because normally he'll fire it right at Kelce anytime.
My point. Which means from the get-go, Mahomes was weird about whatever he was doing.
I do want to bring this up. I just saw this comment. Where'd it go? Bam. He says Trey Smith was beat immediately on that play. Trey Smith got beat all day. Like something was going on there, man. That was something I've noticed.
He has to be referring to another play because it wasn't this one.
Well, either way.
It had to be the play before.
Whatever play we were talking about, that happened all day. Trey Smith got.
Yeah, Trey Smith. He eventually left the game. Allegretti come in.
Yeah, it was rough. The offensive line, they do kind of stink. I'm not gonna lie. Like for everyone to like polish it up and present this to Chiefs Kingdom as a big upgrade on offensive line. What a they duped you. They duped you big time. I think Mike made the comment the other day, like, wouldn't you prefer to have Andrew Wiley at right tackle and DeAndre Hopkins in the wide receiver room as opposed to Jawan Taylor, the league leader in penalties?
Hey, we've seen. Look, this season, you watched this season with Jawan Taylor and no big target at wide receiver. So you're telling me you wouldn't have a time machine? You wouldn't go back in time and try to do it the other way? Ain't no way.
So that's the thing I always think's funny, Mike. Like you brought this up. Like a lot of people say that like Chiefs fans are spoiled and they're never happy because we criticize the team when they're bad. But here's the thing. Who's really the spoiled one? Because when we won a Super Bowl, the same people that are saying that now were the ones that were yelling for the jobs over Orlando Brown Jr. and Andrew Wiley because they weren't good enough. Even though we won a Super Bowl, you can't get any better. They weren't good enough. So they yelled and made their voices so loud. What happens? Brett Veach goes out and tries to appease them and just butchers our offense. Because there was no money left.
And then in the offseason, what did they do? We don't need a wide receiver one. We don't need nobody else. We have enough. Kelce's enough. A 34-year-old tight end being double and triple team looks like he's 50 this year.
Yeah.
And again, you're going to say, oh, he's got good stats. He's got this. He's got that. Cool. But he's been very he's been taken out of so many games this year. It's like he's only played in like 6 games. Like he was non-existent yesterday.
You could have halfway done
before,
it.
Whenever.
Like the weird thing is a lot of people's knock last year. They didn't. Andrew Wiley took a lot, but at the same time,
did you get scared?
Orlando, no, just someone came in the door. But Andrew Wiley, they didn't knock him as much.
Was coming for you.
They didn't knock him as much as they did Orlando Brown Jr. Right? Like Orlando Brown was the big scapegoat for everything.
Oh yeah.
And granted, some of it was justified because he wasn't great, but and he's not worth the money that he was asking for either. But we were proponents of, pay him at least close to what he wants. Just, I mean, we have a solid offensive line. Like we won the Super Bowl. They let up 0 sacks in the Super Bowl. Yeah, there were some pressures here and there, but we know Patrick likes to bring pressure on himself. So, I mean, we were willing to let that slide a little bit just to keep the pieces in place. But Brett Veach won up to everybody and got rid of Wiley and then paid a bunch of money for a right tackle, which is strange, which is exactly what he did with Orlando Brown. He paid a bunch of money for a right tackle and tried to move him to left. So it was like he didn't learn anything there. I don't know what that Jawan Taylor signing was, but that might be the biggest blunder of the offseason for Brett Veach. And I think because
I don't think Jawan Taylor's horrible.
No.
This is
I'm
what
not
I
saying
think
that.
happened with Jawan
I'm not saying
Taylor.
that. I'm just saying we overpaid a right tackle where the money could have gone other places.
But do you feel like Jawan Taylor, do you feel like first game of the season, Chris Collinsworth acted like he was the head of officiating, got everybody going, and now Jawan Taylor's had to adapt his whole entire play style over it?
100%. That's definitely part of it.
So the NFL and the commentators and everybody kind of look, Jawan Taylor, in my opinion, is not worth the 80. It's somewhere around 60, probably.
What, Jawan Taylor? It's 60 guaranteed.
Right, so 60 guaranteed. He probably ain't going to earn the full 80. I don't know how that works. He probably won't survive the contract.
He won't. No, absolutely not.
But point is,
he got the Brett Veach special.
Right. Here's another play. Let's move on to another play here. This was one that I really liked. Look at MVS right in the middle of the field. Wide open. Look at Rashee Rice. He throws to Rashee Rice. So you can't really say this was a bad play. He throws to Rashee Rice and Rashee Rice completes it. But the point of the whole play is why in the world did he not release that ball to MVS, except for the fact that he's just not going to throw the ball to MVS. I think that's what we discovered, right?
Yeah, that's obvious, and people know that.
Isn't that crazy, though? That look how open MVS is, though. And you throw this ball and you loft that up to like the 40-yard, like where the 40s mark.
40, yeah, exactly.
And he's running for, like, he may make that guy miss on the back end.
Granted, I do think that kind of the angles they took on that route, I'm sure that's
another one of those routes I was talking about where it's almost like they're in the same vicinity, and that cannot be the actual route concept.
I mean, these guys could be running the wrong route. They could be bad play design. I don't know. I have a hard time thinking that Andy Reid's designing really bad plays. I'm just going to say that.
Doesn't it seem odd, though? But look at all that green out there, and Pat has already made his mind that he's throwing to Rashee Rice right there. That's weird considering he wouldn't throw to him earlier in the play we looked at.
Right.
I'm not even critiquing the play. Good play. I mean, it's fine. You could have threw it to either one of them. I just found it a little telling that he didn't just take the easier lofted throw up to MVS, in my opinion.
Yeah. He's just not going to throw the ball to MVS. I'm surprised he even threw it to him on that out route we covered.
Right. Here's another one. Here's another one here. I've only got two more to go. Look at this one here. He's looking at Justin Watson right now. Justin Watson gets open, and Mahomes already moves off of him and dinks it down to Travis Kelce. Dumps it down. Turns into 8 yards. But watch this. He's eyeing Justin Watson the whole play. He's watching Justin Watson. And then he gives up on him and goes the other way. So he comes, no pressure, no nothing. He gives up on the play 1 second before he turns around for no reason and dinks it down. Just some of the stuff I don't understand. Look at that. He finds the middle of the zone, and people say the receivers aren't
literally
open.
Not anyone within 10 yards.
Yeah, and look, all day long, all we heard was receivers wasn't getting open. That was beautiful defense by the Raiders. Mahomes didn't have nowhere to throw the ball. He had plenty, and he quit throwing it.
There's no pressure that play either. You can't blame the O-line.
Not at all. Watch it from the back view, by the way. Watch MVS. Look at MVS in the middle of the field come open. He comes in front of the linebacker right there, and you could right here. See that at the top?
Yeah.
Watch it from Mahomes' view in the pocket. MVS is so wide open like you can watch him come open right here in the pocket. And he's already decided, hey, my first read's not open. I'm dumping it as quick as I can. And the point was there's no pressure there. There's no pressure. He give up on the play. He give up on Justin Watson too quick.
I'm glad that you said this because this is a point that we've been trying to make. Patrick Mahomes takes the furthest drop back.
He's already lined up 5 yards.
A lot of times when he gets sacked, it's because he has taken too far of a drop back. Like Wanye got beat a couple times just because he couldn't keep blocking. Like it was impossible. Like if you know how the tackles work, like they're blocking to a certain point and that's that, and then you can step up into the pocket. There's several times where Mahomes just drops back so far he just creates his own pressure.
Pat's 5 yards off the ball getting the snap. He then takes a 6-step drop out of that. Pat is 11 to 12 yards deep.
Yeah, at one point he was 12 yards deep.
You are creating your own pressure because let me tell you, the angles of defensive ends coming around the edge, you have nothing you can do there. Matter of fact, these two defensive ends don't even take the proper angle. And that's why he was so open there. If they were just looped around as normal, they're probably good. But why did Pat give up on that play? Look, his one reads Justin Watson, and he comes out of it. He knows it's a zone. He knows there's nobody there. Why does he give up on it and dink it down?
Did he not think that Justin Watson was going to sit there?
Why would you not? That's the design play, isn't it? Look, if they're really going out there and just saying every receiver run whatever the hell you want to, Patrick Mahomes is going to read your mind. There's no way. He has to know every play. He knows every route they're all going to run on every play. That's the point.
Yeah.
And everybody dogs the receivers and says they don't get open. And I'm just trying to show you they're open. Mahomes just not hitting them, guys. Mahomes is not doing it. And look, and I'm not even blaming all this on Mahomes and saying that he's the reason.
There are games where they're not open. Like
Right,
just as much
100%.
as this game where they're open and he missed them, there's been several games where he had nothing.
100%.
So I mean,
But I'm
I think
just
it,
saying,
it plays hand in hand though. It messes
right.
with his confidence and with his
When you
trust in the
criticize
players.
the Chiefs, it's fair to criticize everybody, in my opinion. I think it's unfair that we only want to target one little group or one, and I get it. They deserve it. They've had a lot of drops, this and that, and everything else. But come on, when they're open, he's still not looking at them. He's still not finding them. He's still not doing it. This is the last one of the day. This is the last one I'm going to show you. This is the one I was talking about where Mahomes, he's eyeing Watson up top. He pump fakes. He says, nope, not going to throw it. That's pretty similar, by the way. Let me hide that. This looks pretty similar to the pick six play, except for the fact he didn't roll out.
He didn't
throw the ball really quick. He kind of waited. But look at the way the corner everybody's playing it. Look at the underneath route. Like, see, he had already threw it the last time.
Yeah.
Okay, so look, he evades the pocket. Now watch. Rice and MVS are supposed to work back to the quarterback. Look, they do. Watch MVS. He becomes wide open down here, sits down beyond the first down marker. Mahomes looking right at him. And Mahomes decides to loft it into triple coverage over the top of Rice instead.
Yeah, I remember that play. That was wild. I was like, what is he even trying to do here?
MVS is wide open, and he chose to do that. He's always trying to make the difficult play for no reason. And again, everybody says, well, they're not working back to the ball. They're not doing it right. They're not scramble drilled right. They're 100%. Look, I'm so mean to MVS on an everyday basis. But this kid done everything right that play, and Mahomes still said, F you, I'm going to throw into triple team over the top of somebody's head and should have got it picked off. Because he don't want to take the simple... Dude, he moves the chains right there. And look at MVS throws his hands up like, what in the hell am I out here for? Yeah, MVS, you're getting your Christmas cardio. Congratulations, buddy.
61 snaps, 0 receptions.
And look, and Mahomes decides to throw that. And by the way, that ball should have been picked. Dude, Mahomes just was not on.
Well, like I said, Mike, Mahomes has not been on, but I think that this stems from a failure from management to coaching and down. Like, you've created this, and now you're dealing with it, and now you've got your quarterback in his head. They did it. We talked about it all offseason, Mike. We talked about it all offseason. It was obvious to anyone that pays attention.
Right. We're going to answer a few questions. We've just done a lot of talking and a lot of looking. And I wanted to show you guys some plays.
A lot of internet restarting.
And look, it was one of those things. And Steve, I appreciate the question. He says, is Patrick making a point with Veach and Hunt? I don't think he's trying to make a point. But I think
that, a little bit. Maybe.
I think what he's doing, because in my point, if you're trying to make a point that your receivers stink, then you just keep throwing it at them. Let them drop.
Yeah,
let them have 75 drops before the season's over. You know what I'm trying to say?
But maybe the point, maybe what Steve's getting at is, if you're not going to give me receivers that can catch it when I do throw it to them, I'm just not going to do it.
Right. So, I don't know, Steve, but I appreciate the question. And again, I just wanted to look at all these things because the receivers have been dogged all year long, and it's rightfully so. MVS deserves to be dogged. There's no doubt about it. I don't like his attitude. He better not be in Kansas City next year. Let's put it that way. But when the kid actually run the right route and Mahomes throws it 3 yards behind him on an out route, when he comes back to the quarterback and sits down in the spot and Mahomes could have easily completed the first, matter of fact, he could have ran for the first. And he chose to make that hard-ass throw in the middle of triple coverage to Rice. It's pressing. Patrick is pressing. Patrick is having problems, and I think he's fair to criticize, guys. It's not the end of the world. You're not a less of a fan. Patrick's criticizing himself too, by the way.
While you're on the MVS thing, I just want to throw this out there. Hell would freeze over before he's back next season. There's just absolutely no way.
Steve, you're going to be very surprised.
Mike, he's a $14 million cap hit next year with only $2 million dead. There's no way, dude. They're taking that $2 million dead cap hit 99 times out of 100, 99.9999 times out of 100.
Steve, are we related to Kiwi here?
I don't know. I hope so. What's up, Kiwi? So someone may have asked you already, but what are the chances anyone from the Chiefs watches your podcast?
They do.
So they do. They do.
We've learned this.
They don't necessarily get on here and like comment and things like that. Obviously, they don't do it, but they do see it. We've had one player on here. Of course, he's on the practice squad now. But there's been others that we know. Watch Jalen Watson has seen it before. Made the comment. Justin Reed. We're the only Chiefs podcast that he doesn't hate with a passion.
That may
Yeah,
change.
and that could change at any given time. But yeah, Justin Reed's awesome. He's the greatest.
Yeah, all the players, by the way, and that's why I preface all this. We don't know the concepts. We don't know the plays.
Right.
We don't know where it was supposed to go or what it was supposed to do. And it's definitely harder to do not watching it from an all 22 aerial view, but being in the moment.
Like we do this where we analyze things and we talk about things and give our opinions, knowing 100% we don't know exactly what we're talking about. That's just
right.
Like
When
I'll be the first to tell you
it's
that.
very much so.
Like I'm gonna have opinions,
to
and they could be completely wrong. Like a player could watch this and know the full extent of it and be like, "Man, these two are idiots."
Right.
But we will admit that. Like we don't know everything. We're just saying what we're seeing, and that's what you as fans see as well. And that's kind of the whole point, you know. So just to talk through it and everything.
Yeah, but a few of them have watched. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's just one of those things. Joe says, time to fire all the offensive coaches. Hey,
I think there is going to be a pretty big.
Somebody asked me that question yesterday, Steve. I'll let you answer it. They asked if you think there's going to be any coaching changes and who do you think it might be?
100%. So I do think after this year they do go ahead and get rid of Matt Nagy, or they move him back to quarterback coach. I think they'll make some kind of a change at offensive coordinator, whether it's him or not. I mean, it's what everybody thinks, and it's what it looks like, because that's the only difference from last year, besides the juju, is that, you know, Eric Bieniemy's gone. It's the obvious thing people are seeing. I think you might see a change there, just to kind of roll some heads. Wide receiver coach, poor guy got thrown into the fire with the crappiest wide receiver room you can imagine on his first year. Never done any of it before, no experience. He's gone. He'll be a fall guy as well. I think you will see some coaching changes for sure. Nothing major besides Nagy. I think they go ahead and move on from Nagy. But if they don't, I think he's going to be on a very short leash.
You know what I'm afraid of? I'm afraid that the coaching staff, because we had this conversation too. If you're not a member of Patreon, go over there. We just, we're releasing another one tomorrow. We just recorded it before we got on here. Patreon.com/allchievedup. We had this conversation. Who is the reason, for example, that we did not, would be to blame for the reason, say, we didn't go get a D-Hop or another wide receiver? Did Veach say, hey, I'm not going to do it, I don't have money? Or did Andy obviously say, I think we have enough guys here that can play, you don't have to go get me one? And then who gets to override the other one? Me and Steve talked about that a little bit. So I wonder if Andy fully believes that all these guys are NFL caliber wide receivers, which they do. These are the 7 they picked. And for us to look at them and be like, they all suck, they're horrible, it's all on them, then we're all essentially saying that Andy Reid has no clue what he's doing when it comes to evaluating talent in a football team. Right?
Right. So my point was Andy Reid's never going to say no to more weapons. Like we know who this falls on. 100%. And you know, it's not at that point when D-Hop signed with the Titans, we couldn't make him an offer. We didn't have the money. But why was that? It was because of the decisions that were made prior to that by said person we're talking about here, which brings me to this comment from our boy Richie. He says, is Veach on the hot seat? I'm going to say no. And the reason why is because Veach has done some really good things. We've won 2 Super Bowls with Veach. He's the reason why Patrick Mahomes is a Chief. Veach has done a lot of good things. Yeah, he's missed here and there in the draft for sure. Like Breeland Speaks, McCole Hardman, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. He's made some bad decisions. Sky Moore. He's missed. But, you know, it's not all on him either. Like Mike said, there's a team that does this and goes into it. But he's done a lot of good things. I don't think there's no way Veach can be on the hot seat. I'll tell you when Veach would be on the hot seat. It's I think he made a giant freaking mistake by ignoring the wide receiver problem. Even up to the trade deadline. Like he didn't even try to correct it. If he did, he got shot down, and rightfully so. Who's wanting to play ball with the defending champions? You know what I'm saying? Like maybe he waited too late. Either way, my point is you can make mistakes. Even at that high of a level, you can make mistakes. I give him that. Like, okay, you screwed up. You screwed up big time. But it's how you react to it. It's what you do. We'll see what he does this offseason, and we'll see what he does to correct his mistakes. And if he doesn't, if he ignores it still plays that cocky role and thinks Patrick can do it himself. And I know there's a lot of people that need to be signed there's a lot of work for Brett Veach to do this offseason, but he has to correct this massive mistake. If he doesn't, then his ass is on the hot seat for sure.
I hear you. Slim is chilling. What's up, man? He says, I don't blame him for not throwing to MVS. He sucks.
Same.
I wouldn't throw to him if he was open by 10 yards. He'd just drop it. This is what I'm saying about this, though.
You're saying throw it, let him drop it over and over again, right?
Andy Reid. Okay. That's the coach we all love. That's the coach that's won 2 Super Bowls. That's the coach that's built this team. He played with all these snaps that were available, from Kadarius Toney being injured, Sky Moore going to IR, Justin Ross coming back, all these snaps, and he give him 62 to MVS. Are you thinking that Andy Reid doesn't think MVS can play? Is MVS not doing something properly? And then my point is this: if you're Patrick, you can't just be like, I'm going to lose before I throw it to this guy, even though if he drops it, it's on him. I just don't see that. You can't play 11 on 10. You can't have a wide receiver that you just refuse to throw it to because he may drop the ball. Okay, cool. Throw it to him and let him drop it. If it turns into points, it turns into points. Who cares? That's on MVS.
I do find it mind-boggling that Andy Reid still has him out there for 61 snaps.
I don't get it either.
That's insane.
But that's what he's given you.
Right.
And Andy Reid makes those decisions. Patrick can't go over the top of Andy. And my point is this: I think if Patrick went to Andy and said, look, I don't want to throw to MVS, he stinks, get him off the field, I think they would. So all this he won't throw to him kind of crap, in my opinion, is not true. I don't think it's true. I just don't think he's seeing him.
Yeah, dude. I don't know what the problem is, but, like, MVS doesn't even produce when he's targeted. He's Applebee's. He's 2 for 20. That's all you're getting, and you're paying him a lot of money, right? Like, that's the whole joke. And he drops a lot of big time passes. I mean, clutch ones too, like in the Eagles game. He shouldn't be on the field.
Stormy, what's up, Stormy? Why do you think Ross and Richie aren't getting utilized enough? Well, we all
I think you're starting to see.
Right.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think we're starting to see Richie get utilized a little more.
Right.
So I think you're going to see more Richie.
Well, he got 25 snaps. I thought he would have got more than that, but again, they give 60 to MVS. So MVS's snaps went up instead of Richie after they said they're going to use Richie more. And then Ross got 10 snaps. The funny thing is, that's about all I thought he was going to get. Everybody thought he was going to come in and get 30 and 40, and I said they're not going to do that with him.
We wished.
And it pisses me off because we need to know what Justin Ross is. I don't want to waste another offseason projecting if Justin Ross is going to to be good or not next year. And then we have to keep 7 more wide, and then we're back in this stupid predicament again. Like, let's just get it. I don't know. But, Steve, let's answer a few more before we jump off here, man. You got anything on your end?
No, I did see this one from Sapphire. Says some top receivers want money, not a Super Bowl ring. They're not looking to come to KC. That has been an ongoing thing. Like, you would think with KC winning the Super Bowls and having Patrick Mahomes, it's a place where wide receivers want to be at. That has not been the case. It has not. And the one time that I think a top end wide receiver wanted to play for a contending team because he spent his Hall of Fame career with a bunch of crappy quarterbacks in Houston, no one offered him. No one had the money to offer him. He ended up in Tennessee. And I think you're going to see that a lot this coming off season, but I think Brett Veach has to make a move at wide receiver. To me, you have to go after a proven veteran wide receiver, whether it's Mike Evans, T. Higgins, I don't care who it is, Hollywood Brown, whoever's out there that you can try to get. I think you got to take a stab at one of these guys because you have really screwed the pooch this year in that wide receiver room. So do you really want a chance on drafting another wide receiver? Because so far we've missed on every wide receiver except for Rashee Rice.
Right. Let's see. I had one here I wanted to bring up. Oh, Bam. Bam says, why couldn't we run the ball on the Raiders?
That's a good question, man. That's a very good question.
I don't think they were committed to doing it. I know Pacheco got injured there.
I thought, Clyde was kind of carrying for a little while.
But I don't think they were committed to doing it because as bad as the receivers are and as bad as we all know they are, Pat dropped back in the pocket 54 sometimes. I think it was 54, 55 times he dropped back. He of course, didn't throw 44.
Pretty normal for Andy Reid, right?
But isn't that crazy that you didn't want to? I don't know. It's strange to me. Chiefer says CJ was sick as hell in his presser today. Maybe a flu is going through. I hope not. I hope not. Like, we don't need that, but didn't Dallas just have to deal with that?
Yeah, it happens, man. I mean, I think that's kind of what started the whole debacle was that one bad week against Denver where everybody was sick or Mahomes was sick. and it's just been like compounding since then. It's just been so bad. And I'm not blaming it on sickness at all. I'm just saying that's when it all started for sure.
Right. Monty, what's up, man? He says, I hope y'all boys are doing well. Mike and Steve, do you think Mahomes should have taken a Brady-like deal, more Super Bowl rings with less money? I've been hearing that everywhere. I think he took a pretty friendly contract, in my opinion.
He has up until this year, and I think what sparked him to go ahead and take the big money was because he noticed that it didn't matter. He left money on the table, and straight out of his mouth, he said, I left money on the table for people like Chris Jones. Guess who didn't get extended? Chris Jones. And then all of a sudden, Patrick's like, you know what? I will restructure and take all this money. I think he knows his money wasn't getting spent the way it needed to be spent or where he wanted it to be allocated to. So he figured he'd go ahead and take it. So I think he had that mentality on money. And I think Brett Veach kind of burned that bridge.
Yeah.
Is that a hot take? Because I kind of think that's what happened.
Who knows? Who knows? Jerome says EB needed to go. He should have been head coach by now. I think the Rooney Rule actually hurt him. Most of the interviews were because of the Rooney Rule. Not given a fair shake.
I agree.
Yeah. Look, a lot of that stuff, and I mean, you're going to step on toes with that kind of stuff and affirmative action and this and that. But sometimes I feel like some of that makes it more of a spectacle than to actually like make them feel like they're wanted.
It made me, there was a time where I felt bad for Eric Bieniemy because I felt like he was getting used to meet a quota.
Yeah, they wanted to meet the quota and it wasn't genuine.
It was pathetic, and I think that EB could be a head coach in this league, at least given a shot to see what he can do, and I think he will get it. But yeah, I agree. I thought it was a good move for Eric Bieniemy to move on and get out from under Andy Reid, so that way he could, prove that he can do it without Andy. Whether he did that or not this year with the Commanders, that's a tough task for anybody.
They may fire their coach and move Bieniemy up to head coach there. We'll see.
I think we'll see it soon. We'll see what he can do.
Right. Enrique says, how much did we miss Jerry McKinnon? Dude, a lot of people like on X when that game was going was blaming the whole thing about Jerick McKinnon was out, and that's why our blocking looked bad. It's like, dude, McKinnon's only been playing like what, 15, 30 snaps a game, somewhere in that range.
McKinnon's very, very useful to have on the field, and I do think you hurt when you don't have him, just because he can pass block, he can receive out of the backfield, he can even run it when you need him to. So definitely when you have a player that can contribute like that, it hurts not to have him, but I don't think it's a big thing.
Yep, for sure. Let's take one more here. Samuel says, we need to make a big splash in the draft, Harrison Jr., and in free agency. We're never going to be able to get Harrison Jr.
No.
He's just going to be too
Even Keon Brooks, they have listed at the number 2 receiver right now. I think a lot of the good receivers that you think we might be able to go after are impossible to get. That's why I'm an advocate
you're gonna have
for
a few that fall. I mean, think about it. All offseason long, all they talked about was how good Quentin Johnson was, and Quentin Johnson stinks.
And all offseason, you talked about a man named Puka Nacua that no one listened.
Yeah.
It's crazy, ain't it? But no, I think the draft is a crapshoot, man. And it just goes to show you, like, Mike liked Puka Nacua on tape. No one else gave him the time of day except for the Rams in the 5th round. And guess what? He's the best rookie receiver by far. You just never really know what you're getting, right? So even with Harrison Jr., like, he's going to be great, right? But you don't. You really don't. Like, he might be a bust. That's why I'm an advocate for going and getting a proven receiver, whether it's 30-year-old Mike Evans, whether it's T. Higgins. T. Higgins is going to get paid, though. He's coming up on his first big contract. He can be a number 1 in the league, and I think somebody will pay for him. There's a lot of guys available. I think you go for a proven guy. I don't like the idea of drafting another receiver.
Brett Veach has drafted, I think, 5 wide receivers in his time. Can you name them?
McCole Hardman.
Yes, one.
Hold on. Sky Moore.
Yes.
Rasheed Rice. So there's 2 more?
There's 2 more.
I feel like I'm forgetting an obvious one. Cornell Powell.
Yep.
And Jerry, he was a running back and he wasn't a draft.
Out of the 4 you just named, the only one that may turn out to be a great wide receiver too is Rasheed Rice. He's missed on everything.
I saw it in the comments. Bearson, is it D-Rob?
Did he draft D-Rob?
I don't know.
D-Rob was drafted before he came here.
It might have been
Jehu Chesson was who they drafted the year Mahomes was drafted. I think D-Rob was the year before Jehu Chesson. So I don't know if Brett Veach actually drafted him right.
You don't seem right. I kind of want to know now. I'm going to look to see when D-Rob was drafted. Hold on. First of all, D-Rob, we've like I never thought I'd say I'd miss him, but I kind of feel like
That's sad, isn't it? I don't know.
I even
I think
forgot his name for a second.
While you're looking at that, I just want to say, like, I think the moral of our story today was not to trash Pat in any way.
No, not at all. It's just showing there's a lot to go around.
Yeah, I think it was the show. It was to show that everybody is playing off right now. Like, until we get some offensive accountability, which is what Kelce said, and that goes for him too. I think everything has got to come together, and let's hope they can get there. They got 2 weeks. You got a backup quarterback with Cincy, but look, Cincy plays us tough, and they're going to play us like it's the Super Bowl again. And then you're going to get, you're going to get the Chargers' best effort. They look like they had a lot of energy last game, so you're going to get it. The Chiefs are going to they got to come out on fire and ready to play, and make a willing, conscious effort to get over this. And let's hope.
Maybe we need to get let's see. You were right. D-Rob was 2016. That was John Dorsey.
And Jehu Chesson was 2017.
Correct.
Yep, out of Michigan. I remember it.
Jehu Chesson.
That's who he's drafted here. So do you guys trust him to draft another one? Look, Brett Veach and receivers don't mix too well, but I will say this. Rashee Rice has been good, but he's a different body type. And then I don't really blame Veach. He's not the guy, but he is the guy that makes the final call. So,
yeah. I want to take one more question just real fast.
Go for it.
Especially because I gave him a hard time earlier. But Chief KT says, if we win the next game, do we rest the starters the last game? And that's a good question, because if we win one more game, we lock up the AFC West. If we lose out and the Raiders win out, we could potentially miss the playoffs, which is wild.
Right. But if we win one, it's a lock on the AFC West.
Correct. So good question. If they do win this next game against the Bengals, do they rest the starters, or do you put them out there and be like, hey, you still got some stuff to figure out?
I play them. This team looks so bad. You've got to get them in game experiences still. Now, look, you can sit Pat. If you want to sit Pat and let the backup quarterback come in and play a game and just let the receivers go through the motions, go for it.
Enrique, I like this idea. I do think that they should let all Chief up pick their wide receivers.
I think they should too.
We would have had George Pickens and Puka Nacua.
Well, there was one wide receiver that I said was just about the only wide receiver I would have traded up.
And Amon-Ra St. Brown. Man,
it was Zay Flowers. Was the first round wide receiver I wanted,
and he's been pretty good.
But I'll say this: it is a crapshoot. I mean, I like the idea of drafting. I was a big Marcus Peters fan, and then he looked good too. But I mean, he come to be a thorn in our side and a locker room cancer. So who knows?
Yeah, I don't know, man. There's been a lot of misses in wide receiver. That's why I'm a big proponent of just getting a proven guy in free agency. I know it's easier said than done with all the money that's going to have to be thrown around this offseason. Veach has got his work cut out for him, and he didn't make it any easier on himself by dropping the ball this season. The same way that we said that this wasn't about dogging on Pat, I'm not dogging on Brett Veach. He can't be perfect all the freaking time, but he does have some things starting to add up. So he's definitely got to pick some stuff.
Yeah. We actually took we did Zay Flowers on our Bleacher Report draft, Steve, if you remember correctly.
Yeah, we did.
We traded up to take him. We traded up to number
we took him like 21.
We knew we had to get in front of the Ravens because I said the Ravens was the team that was going to take him 1,000%.
I said the same thing.
Yeah, we called that like a month before. We said the Ravens were attached to his hip during the East-West game, and they were going to take him, and that's the team you had to jump in front of. And a lot of people said, y'all crazy, it's the Chargers, but it was the Ravens. There was one more thing I wanted to do
right Cup
before
a free agent next year?
I think he might be.
Because they might let him go, with Puka turning out.
Right. Oh, where did that go? That was such a good comment.
You gotta find it, Mike. You got 2 minutes to find this.
It was
thing.
KWL had wrote. Let me find you.
Find it. I'm gonna help you.
My man.
I think were you seeing things?
He said, what happens if they played the backup quarterback and he was awesome and put up 35 on the scoreboard? Look, you're not sitting Pat ever.
No, but that would show you a few things, wouldn't it?
But let me tell you something. We had this conversation today too. I'm a firm believer that if you would have pulled Pat in the fourth quarter against the Raiders, I honestly think that we could have scored a few more points in the fourth with Blaine Gabbert. And this is why I say, not because Pat's not good, But I think Pat is so at the level of frustration and pressing, and Gabbert's not there yet. I think Gabbert would have come in and he would have just ran the play. He would have threw it to any wide receiver because he has no animosity towards any of them. He'd have just went down his rotations, and I believe we'd have moved the ball. You'd have just seen it would have been like a Alex Smith-led offense. I think Pat presses too much sometimes. He tries to force it. He tries to evade the pocket. He would have probably took a few more sacks because he wasn't going to get out of the way like Pat does. But something tells me that maybe that QB change would have resulted in a few points. I don't think it's that far-fetched to say that, and that's not dogging Patrick Mahomes, and that's definitely not me saying to bench Patrick Mahomes. But sometimes you get in your own head so much that if you take a step back and look, and he was to see Gabbert come in and actually completed and scored and been like, hey, Gabbert threw to MVS 3 times and he caught the ball. So maybe I could go back to MVS.
It could have done some good. You never know. So that takes you back to
You'd have never heard the end of it, though, Steve.
It takes you back to Chief KT's question. If you sit Mahomes in the last game of the season, because he said, do you sit these guys? Well, if you sit Mahomes, you have the receivers playing. Do you think that could open up Mahomes' eyes a little bit and give him some confidence in the receivers going into the playoffs?
Possibly. Maybe you let Gabbert go, and maybe the team puts up some points because they run the offense as designed. Or maybe Patrick sees it from off the field and he's like, yeah, that's where the ball needed to go on that certain play.
I do think there's got to be some kind of a reset in Patrick's mind, because we all know, no matter what we talked about today and showed the plays where he wasn't necessarily good, we all know he has it.
You're right, Bam. It could.
Yeah, it could go either way. But no, I do think something's got to reset in his head, because he's in his own head so bad he's making his life miserable. Patrick's a damn good quarterback. He's the best one to ever do it, in my opinion, when he's at the top of his game. And we just got to get it like a hard reset in that noggin of his. Yeah, we get to restart that cranium.
There's a shred of hope. Is it likely we're going to the Super Bowl and winning? Probably not. But there's a shred of hope. So everybody hang on to it. At least for a few more weeks. Let's hang on to it.
Hold on to it for dear life, okay? You grip that thing as hard as you can, because that's all we got.
Right. We appreciate you guys being here. Hit that like button on your way out. Hit that sub button if you're not subbed yet. Yeah, stick with us. We're trying to get to 20K.
Getting close, Mike.
Dude, the Chiefs.
We got like 500 more? 500 more subs.
It's getting close, man. It's getting close. We're closer to 20K than the Chiefs are closer to figuring it out on offense, it seems. But they're going to do it. Steve, the poll. In the poll really quick. Let's bell.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about the poll. Let's check
the polls. Do you think the Chiefs can recover from their recent meltdown and take the Lombardi?
Not looking good.
I think 63% said no.
62% said no.
So, yeah, out of 308 votes, not a lot of confidence in it. But look, I think if the Chiefs just get to the AFC Championship game as bad as it's been this year, I consider that a win. Steve thinks it's Super Bowl or bust, which he's right. I don't want to go back to loser mentality to where, hey, as long as we participate in the playoffs, we're fine.
Anytime with Patrick Mahomes in his prime at Super Bowl or bust, whether you put the pieces around him or you don't, that it is what it is.
Yep. That's what I hear. And Ray says he wants his emojis back. Hopefully that comes back in early January. We get to reapply for all that. And hopefully a computer doesn't look at it.
What is it, about 5 days from now? We'll see how this is going to go for us.
It's exactly a week. I think we're allowed to do it on the 3rd. I think that's it. So it's exactly 1 week from today. So, okay. Well, you guys, thanks for being with us. Thanks for hitting that like button. Thanks for subbing. Thanks for watching this. We appreciate you. Find us on all the social media. And with that being said, go Chiefs.
Go Chiefs.
There goes a sight from my soul.